Guys, Mike Troll here, #1synthetic.com, Amsoil dealer. Today, what we're going to begin looking at is my '89 5-liter Mustang. And this is a car that you've probably, if you've watched any of my videos, you might have seen this car in the background. It's rough. It's in rough shape, but in other ways it's, it's not as bad as some, in that it's been drivable up until I started having the issue that we're going to be addressing, which is changing out the fuel injectors and the fuel pressure regulator. But yeah, this car, a lot of history. I bought this car when I was 17, and you can see it's had some bumps and different things. This engine is original, 200-some thousand miles. We'll look at the odometer in a minute. I think it's 268. That I know of. The valve covers have never been off. Let me put the flash on here. Okay, so I was wrong. 260,468. When I bought the car, it had about 90,000 on it. That was November of 1997. I actually graduated high school that year, and so this '89 Mustang was only, what, 8 years old at that point. Had about 90,000 miles, and so I have watched this odometer flip twice, and lots of highway miles at the time. Lately, the last probably 10 years of its life, it's lucky to get 300 to 500 miles a year. And but it does put a smile on my face. Like I said, up until this issue, this car was not only drivable but ran really well. I mean, it's got the 5-speed. The Hurst shifter is probably the first thing I did. I always thought the chrome stick and the white ball was just, a really cool look. Definitely a, homage to the old muscle cars. But yeah, so my phone cut out a minute ago, but basically, yeah, to my knowledge, the valve covers have never been off. All stock here. There's an Amsoil, there was a K&N panel air filter, and there's an Amsoil panel air filter back when they made air filters. Super great air filter. I'm so sad Amsoil does not make them anymore, I guess because they're so good. Once you bought one, you didn't need to buy another one. What made them different from the K&N was there was no oiling. You clean them simply by blowing them out with 20 psi shop air, and they were nanofiber, just like the oil filters. So those little tiny fibers, the dirt would not embed into the media. It literally sat on top of the media. Wonderful filters. They still make universal round and conical style filters that are made to replace, like if you have a K&N cold air kit, you could go to my website, #1synthetic.com. Sorry, I can't get that to focus right now. But anyway, there it is. There'll be a link. The very first comment down below that I'll pin is going to be my link to my website, #1synthetic.com. But yeah, you can look in there on air filters and see they only make the universal air filters anymore, and you can get all the measurements and see if they make one that will fit your cold air intake or whatever. But this one does have a panel style Amsoil air filter from back when they made them. What else? Like I was saying, the car ran good up until this issue. So basically, I've been really bad. You can't see it now, but basically, whenever I would drive the car, I would smell gasoline. I know, not safe. And so I've got to assume it was leaking out of the injector O-rings, and stuff like that. And so honestly, it just got put off because obviously I have to pull this upper intake, which never was really an appealing thought to me. Well, what finally happened is the engine quit on me one day, and I could hear the fuel pump running constantly in the tank. The fuel pump was running, but it's like it couldn't build enough pressure to start the car. So what I ended up doing to get home was I tapped, where is it, on my fuel pressure regulator. I tapped on that and it restarted. You know, and I prayed and I was like, Lord, help me get this thing home. And I literally got it in the garage, and you know, I had gotten overconfident and I started thinking, wow, well, maybe it's good. Maybe I can drive it again. And then it quit. It literally died as I was thinking that. And I was like, thank you, Lord. Thank you for letting me get the car home and in the garage and not letting me be stupid and take it back out and have to pay for a tow. So anyway, I've been watching videos on YouTube and just, you know, trying to familiarize myself as much as I can. Here you can see a broken vacuum line here. So this is the other thing. A 31-year-old car. This is May of 2020, and this is a 1989 Ford Mustang. I just, it's almost like a nightmare thinking how much of this stuff is gonna break and crumble as I start taking it apart. I mean, this is AC. AC doesn't even work, so but as far as vacuum lines and just all that kind of stuff, I gotta tell you, I'm not I'm not super confident about this, but I need to do it. I need to get it going, and you know, so I just wanted to kind of document what's going on here. So to kick things off, my kids are going to help me get started here. Jesse is going to take loose the, what would you call this, the intake tubing, I guess, to the throttle body. Alright, that's probably loose enough. You can stop, and then we'll try to pull that thing off of there. Alright, buddy, let me... 31-year-old stuff here we're messing with, so... And I don't know, I thought about replacing some of this stuff, doing like a cold air intake and a mass airflow meter, but again, how much money do I want to put onto a stock engine with 260,000 miles versus just, you know, doing everything from the ground up like I want to. But anyway, we'll get that off. I'm going to get two hands on it. Okay, so about got this thing off of here. Okay, and then I'll probably have to undo this mass air meter unless we just stuff this over here out of the way. But here, let's take a look inside our throttle body. See how dirty it is. Yeah, it's kind of dirty. All the buildup, that's 31 years worth of buildup in there. So, I mean, I don't know what to expect, if that's a little, if that's a lot, but... And I don't think I've ever changed the Pcv valve on this car because it's so hard to get to. It's like somewhere down in there, so I plan to address that as well. So we got our work cut out for us. Alright, so we got the air box, mass air, and this tube all out. We just pulled it right off of there. Jesse helped me with that, and I'll just show you since we got it out. This is the Amsoil Air Filter that it pains me that they don't make anymore. Like I said, you can get a universal, they do make universal conical and round filters, but they don't make like these vehicle specific like they did. I mean, this filter, it'd probably last forever. Unlike a K&N or those type where you have to clean and oil, the only thing you have to do with this is blow it out backwards with 20 psi shop air. And yeah, the technology, the nanofiber technology in these air filters was first developed for use in the M1 Abrams tank. And so yeah, these things trap super fine dirt particles, and they flow pretty well. They do not flow as well as a K&N or a you know, oil wetted cotton gauze filter. Those are going to outflow, but I think the bigger issue for most people in a street car and a car you want to last is going to be filtration. And so these are super good at filtration and contaminant removal, and I don't think they flow too bad either. So it just depends what's important to you. But I know for a while Amsoil had a partnership with Injen, INJEN, and they were selling cold air intakes for different cars, and so they were Injen cold air intakes with these Amsoil filters, which you can still get. Like I said, go to my website, number1synthetic.com. I'll have the link down below in the first comment. Just type it in. But I'll have the link you can click in the first comment below. And you can look at what they have to offer as far as the universal fit conical filters. They also do have a few filters for carbureted applications, the old big round style filters that would sit on the top of your carburetor. So they have a few of those as well. Alright, Gabe, go ahead. He's loosening up these. I bypassed years ago these on my EGR spacer. To me it just seemed silly to heat the air, you know, because cooler air makes more power. And here I am in Florida. Why am I heating this air? That's good, buddy. Go ahead and loosen that one there. And so I don't know. Maybe you can comment if you know if it's a good thing to leave this hooked up. I just bypassed it with this. It's actually a piece from a transmission cooler install, but I'm just using the piece of tubing to bypass this thing. Alright, cool, buddy. And then why don't you grab those heater hoses down there. See the two black there and there? So Gabe's going to loosen those up for us too. I can see that. Well, get the one you can. He's going to loosen those up. So, a lot of preliminary stuff we got to start taking off. Alright, this is probably all we're going to do tonight. Let's see, I just did random stuff. I took off this from the EGR. Let's see, I popped off the throttle cable, this linkage here, throttle cable and cruise control thing. There's just like a little, it's almost like a trailer hitch ball and socket. There's the little ball, and I just popped it off with a screwdriver off of this little nub here on the bottom of the throttle thing under the throttle body. There, you can see it moving. And yeah, it's kind of weird. I wouldn't have known how to get that off. And again, it seems pretty crazy that that's the only thing holding it on is a little bit of resistance. I mean, it seems like something like that would be easy to break or wear out over time. I don't know what's involved. It doesn't look fun. It looks like you might have to replace the whole throttle cable assembly. I don't know, but hopefully it's fine. Like I said, these coolant hoses, I was going to try to get these coolant hoses off of here, just because this thing that I've got run around is probably going to be in my way, and I might even work something out. I'll do more research. Maybe I can just plug those pipes off since my heater core is bad. I bought the car like this. As you can see, it's only got one of the pipes for the heater core sticking out. I have no idea. This car looks to have a very rough history. You know, I didn't know a lot about buying a car back then, so I think this car's been painted. I mean, this green color is not factory that I know of. It looks cool in the sun with the sparkles, but it's a cheap paint job. There's no clear coat. I mean, every time I wax the car, green stuff comes off. But so anyway, like I said, I'd like to redo everything from the ground up, but that would cost, I don't even know how much that would cost. But again, the car is fun to drive when it's running. It hasn't given me tons of major trouble. This is the first real big, you know, thing I've had to do. Like that. Well, I have put a couple actually transmissions in it, but that's probably more me being a little rough with it and drag racing. And at one time I had a little pair of slicks that I would bolt on when I'd go to, used to be called oh my goodness, it's called Bradenton Motorsports Park now, but I can't even remember. Maybe I'll think of it. Quarter-mile track down in Bradenton. Anyway, that's it for tonight, guys. We'll hopefully get some more going later. Just got my order today from Summit Racing. Brand new Excel 19 pound-hour fuel injectors. I bought these on the consistently high ratings, not only from their website but other websites, and you know, I could have got some rebuilt ones for less, but these are brand new, 19 pound-hour. They should be you know, ready to go. Also got this fuel pressure regulator. This thing was only like $23, and honestly, I mean, the reviews for the Excel part were not convincing me that it was worth the money to go with the Excel regulator for like 3-4 times the price. And I didn't figure I needed anything adjustable anyway, so this is it's just a stock type. It does have the vacuum connection, so it's non-adjustable, but it should keep it right at stock fuel pressure. It's got, looks like very much stock mounting locations and gasket and O-ring in there. But yeah, I'm not even ready to use these yet, but it's nice to have them sitting here. I forgot, of course, to order my upper to lower gasket, and I was considering should I go with a phenolic spacer. But again, how much money do I want to spend, you know, doing something like this on an old motor? And I don't know. I guess we'll see. I got to think about that. Alright, so I'm just going to pull these out and take a look. I don't know what to oh, they come boxed individually, almost like spark plugs. So we'll just take a look at one of them here. But yeah, these weren't cheap, but again, I wanted to go with, I mean, I even thought about just replacing the O-rings on the stock injectors, and because that's what's leaking, I believe. But I just figured, you know, if I'm going to go to all this trouble of pulling apart this engine and the upper intake, you know, the reviews, honestly, of the people that had put these in older vehicles and done literally nothing else to them, they said their car ran so much better they hadn't even noticed how the performance had gone away over the years. So that's why I went with these. So, alright. Thanks. Okay, one more take. We'll take a look at the vacuum line situation down here. Okay, hopefully I don't repeat myself on some of this stuff, but I pulled this line, vacuum line off the EGR. I unplugged. I think I already showed you the TPS here and all that. Took that out of the throttle linkage, which is laid down here. And the EGR plug down here. I did get careless and break one of the clips off this side, but thankfully there's a clip on both sides. I think that's what makes them a pain to remove, but at least I still got a clip. I'm working on, so I pulled the vacuum line that goes to my fuel pressure regulator, which is, there's a fuel pressure regulator down there, and then here's the line that I pulled off of it. But then also on the back side of the motor, it might be better to pull that line loose, this one here. And it goes to like this funny looking vacuum tree. I shot a take of it where I stuck my phone down in there. And actually right there's the one I'm going to try to pull off next. That goes to over there somewhere. So I do need to pull it off here so the intake can come out. And I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of rebuilding of vacuum lines and that system, and it looks like this one here is going to have to come off, and it is like rock hard. So I don't know, there's some kind of clip on there, I don't know, but we'll see. That's got to come off. Look at my old rotted AC insulation. But anyway, so that, and then that, there's a funny bar that's back there too that I've only seen one other video talk about, and I guess I'll show it to you when I get it out of there, but it's got to come out. That might be it right there. That thing right there, yeah, that's it. So that's like a stud there, and then that bar comes over and down. Yep, you can kind of see it. I think that's it, and it bolts somewhere down there. So I believe that's got to come off. And then the salt and pepper shaker, I don't know what this is, but I've heard it called that, so figure out how to take that out of there, off of there, so that the manifold can come out. And then obviously the bolts, I haven't even started with that, but I'm just trying to get everything else off that I can. So I actually popped that vacuum line off easier than I thought I would. It's the one that's straight back here on my 89. I used a right angle pick, this thing here, and not so much using the tip of the pick, but just kind of the side of it. I got my hand on the fitting and just kind of, use this to add some pressure up behind the rubber end of it, and I managed to get it. Thankfully it came off pretty easy. So where we're at, again, this, I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet, if I'm going to try to cut that thing or just cut this tube and plan to replace it, because it's stiff. There is a clamp, you can see it right there, it's clamped onto a metal line, so I don't know how I'd get pliers on there to remove that, but it looks like it's going to be difficult to do, so we'll see. I think I have to remove this 5.0 HO plate in order to, I'm guessing, in order to get this thing here. There's that bracket there. It's pretty loose, but it looks like maybe if I take this plate off, I can figure out how to get that out of there. So we're going to give that a shot. It looks like it's going to be a Torx 20. So I'm going to give that a shot with a nut driver. Hopefully I don't have to bust a ratchet out, and I definitely don't want to strip the heads on those. Well, thankfully, just like that, with my nut driver and my T20 Torx bit, I was able to get these screws out with no issue. Probably want to hit them with some penetrating oil to be sure, but they came out not too much problem. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. Clean it up a little, maybe even I thought about painting the accents. I don't really know. I mean, it's going back onto this, so you know, I could clean up the intake and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's going back on a, you know, old car. Again, this is why I kind of wanted to just keep the car drivable and wait and do a full restore / modify when I have, you know, 30 to 50 grand to spend on the car. But you know, in all honesty, that may never happen, so it might just be, you know, little by little. So but again, you know, I just want to get this thing running again, and we'll see what we can do. So I don't know if this is the right way, but in order to get this salt and pepper shaker loose, I had to go down. You can see, there it is. See those clips down there? They clip under the intake. And so, see if I can show you. I just had to get in there with a screwdriver and, you know, convince them to unhook from under that metal. Now I'm gonna pull up on it and we'll see if it comes out. It should. Yep, see that? It's just sliding up out of there. So bring it back up. Okay. So I don't watch this vacuum line here, but I think now we also got to be careful because yeah, that's still connected on the bottom. So I guess I just kind of leave it here. Maybe I just tie it back out of the way while I pull the intake. So something like that, probably what I'll do. But anyway, and yeah, duh, I had to take off that top plate to get to these manifold bolts, so I would have figured that out eventually, I guess. So you guys are probably wondering, since most of what I do on this channel is Amsoil oil changes, and you can get that through my website, number1synthetic.com, links in the first comment below. But so when I first got into Amsoil, well, let's go back when I was growing up. You know, I guess my dad was older school, and so he always thought that thicker oil was better. His cars were always older, had a lot of miles on them, and this car did use some oil even when I first got it, and I drove it really hard, and so I was like, yeah, cool. So I actually ran 20W50 Kendall GT1, not a synthetic oil back in the day. I think I actually ran Castrol Syntec way back in the day too in this car. Now when I got turned on to Amsoil, and that's a whole story in itself, but anyway, so naturally I went with a 2050 because that's what I was using in the car. So I actually went with this, and this is a blast from the past. Any of you older Amsoil guys, they do not make or sell this anymore. So in 2006 or 7 is probably when I started using this in the Mustang, and 100% synthetic 2050 racing oil, and you know, awesome stuff, high zinc, and so this is back in the day. And then they actually discontinued this oil, and it, where is it? I'm going to try to find what the, you know, what it morphed into, kind of. Okay, so they're racing oils. This is a whole line, but that 15W50, that's basically what replaces this stuff. But at that point, I just went to a more street oil, which was a 20W50 version of this, which, let's see, it's on the page over here. So here we are, these premium protection synthetic. There's a 1040, 2050. Both of these are high zinc. You know, if you got flat tappets, all that stuff, you should look to something like this. And so anyway, and then over the years I started thinking, well, I'm not driving as hard or as far or as long as I used to, so I went from a 2050 down to 1040. And this is what I'm actually running in here now, because it's what I had around when I needed to change the oil. So, but yeah, excellent diesel oil for 2007, for pre-2007, I should say, this Amsoil diesel and marine. Excellent rust protection and all that stuff. This is CI 4 Plus rated, so again, you're not going to use this in a newer diesel, but it's still excellent. They do still make this as well. But let's look just to show you. We're getting off topic here, but here's the newest Amsoil diesel oils, and they've got some lower viscosities, and these are all CK4, I'm sorry. Yeah, the highest spec, and they're really excellent for diesels. They also have a competition racing diesel oil. Anyway, so let's get back to, so if you're looking for high zinc and rust protection, you could also look at something like this. They even have assembly lube and break-in oil. This is obviously non-synthetic. That's one of the few non-synthetic Amsoil products, because you're trying to break in an engine. Anyway, Z-Rod 1030, 2050. They are coming out with a 1040. It might even be out already. And this is high zinc, specifically for classic cars. And it's also got heavy corrosion protection. If the car is not driven, does a lot of sitting. So anyway, but you're probably going to laugh what I'm actually thinking about switching to, as my viscosity over the years has trended downward. Once I get this car running again, I'm actually thinking about going to either the 1030 Z-Rod, and that's going to free up some horsepower, going to a lighter weight oil, and I'm also considering possibly just going with the Amsoil Signature Series 0W30, because I don't need high zinc in this car. I mean, it's a roller cam, so I may do something like this. And just real quick, blast from the past. Some of you might remember this. This is the old Amsoil Series 2000, which then became this, and then you have the entire top tier of Amsoil became Signature Series. So now you got 0W30 all the way up to the 5W50 for the Mustangs, the newer Mustangs. Here's the complete Signature Series line. 040, 550. Anyway, guys, hope that was interesting. There's my website, number1synthetic.com. And let's get back to this Mustang. Alright, what I ended up doing, I thought it would be easier to take it off here than down on the PCV hose or tree, whatever. So, like I said, I cut this clamp, but I could not get this to come off. For one, this tube is so old and hard, so I ended up taking the screw out of this. Duh. Easy. So now with this loose, I could use a screwdriver and get that out. So that's out. I think now we're just down to taking the bolts out. So, oh, and I took out this little thingy, which is, I learned about this in another video, and I'm glad I did. So do yourself a favor, if you're going to do this, watch more than one video, because you'll pick up little tips from each one. But this is up on one of the studs, I think, on the intake, and then this goes down onto one. I don't know. It's back there, and it's a pain. So anyway, I got that out. You definitely want to have a U-joint on your setup, to reach back there. So I think I'm going to need this too to reach that back bolt on the intake. So we're going to give it a shot. Alright, so you need a little bit of a deep socket. I'm using a 13mm to get this one back here that's like a stud where that bar was on that I was showing you earlier. There we go. Back to a short socket and the U-joint for the one that's back here. Oop. Just turn it. U-joint. Need some better lighting. Nothing's been too crazy tight here, which has been nice. And finally, get this out of the way. Wow, that one. Okay, well that one definitely. Now, I need to make sure I put these in the right way. They're the same length or not. Let's take a look. They are. They appear to be identical. So another thing that I need to think about is, am I going to do a phenolic spacer or you know, just get an intake manifold gasket? I mean, I like the idea of the spacer. I you know, keeping it insulates the upper intake from the heat of the engine, the lower intake and everything. So in theory it should give you a little more power, cooler, denser air. So we'll see what we're gonna do. Alright, just about to, there it is. Hopefully lift this one out of here and not drop it. Okay, stick it in my little thing so I can keep track of them. And this one here, there we are. So I made, it's just a piece of cardboard so I get the right bolts in the right holes, and that's the one that bracket on the back of the intake goes to. But I don't know if these are stainless, because these are real shiny and pretty. The others are, you know, a little more, well, also because these were under that that nice cover on there. But they don't have nearly as much magnetic force as, say, some of these darker ones. Or I should say, they don't. They're not as magnetic. Alright, the time has come to take this out of here, and we're going to try to bring it out. There's a lot that's loose, but it can't be taken completely out of the way. Gabe's going to try to help with that. I could have taken the distributor cap off, I guess, if I need to, but this can lift up, buddy. This is kind of heavy. Yeah, alright. Oh my goodness. Such an awkward angle. Hopefully we don't spill, drop stuff down into the engine. What's got it? There's something. It's coming up that way. Got something on your side, Gabe?
All I can see is that, but I don't see anything else. Ow, ow,
Oh, be careful. If I had some light back in there, can you shine that flashlight back in there? Yeah, I should have probably taken the distributor cap off. Alright, we got something holding us up. My bad, guys, I forgot the Pcv valve. So anyway, it did pop right out of its grommet, and so now we're going to give this a shot. Okay, Gabe, help me out with that one. Where's that PCV? Oh, right there. There we go. And we are out of there. Wow. Okay. Well, let's set this somewhere safe and have a look at everything. Oh my goodness, so here we are. We got it out of there. I need to go through and brush away some of this dirt and stuff, and I mean, you can see, probably we'll check out my PCV valve and that screen in the back, but I mean, look at this. This is full of carbon. So what we may do at some point down the road is see if we can run some Amsoil power foam through this. But yeah, all this dirt and stuff, I do want to tape this up and keep more stuff from falling in there. But so that came out of there. There's our fuel injectors and fuel rails, and I did discover this vacuum hose just laying here broken, so that's definitely something to address. That's definitely the more vacuum leaks we can correct, the better it'll run too. So alright, let's have a look at that intake. Wow, so yeah, the car definitely showing its age. You can definitely see, that's interesting, the deposits that are in there, like that section is clean, and then there's, you know, all this oil stuff in there, so I don't know why that side of that one and that side of that one is clean. It's interesting. I guess it's got to do with the way the oil flows through, and or the air flows through, and how that oil was coming in from the PCV. Let's try to glance back there. So the PCV, oh my goodness, that screen down in there, we have got to get that out. I've got one ordered. I got a grommet ordered too, if it's worth pulling that out. Because I've heard some people say the grommets don't fit as well, they're kind of loose, so we'll see. I'll take a look when it comes. But that screen down in there, we'll try to pull that out. I got one coming, Amazon, and a PCV valve as well. It's supposed to be a Motorcraft part, but And our fuel rails, you can definitely see where the leak was around here. See that rail? Yeah, it's all discolored, and so I'm sure fuel was leaking there. And not sure where else. That may have been the primary. So, we got our work cut out for us. But praise the Lord for His grace in getting this far. Alright, so here's the intake and obviously the EGR spacer and throttle body. I didn't intend to take any of that off if I didn't need to. Yeah, 31 years worth of buildup and residue. So let's take a look at what we got here. So this was that vacuum line that goes to the main vacuum tree. I mean, maybe this is even reusable. It's getting rubbed into there. So we'll see. We'll take a look at all that. This goes to the fuel pressure regulator. So I want to ensure that this is not compromised. And then this one goes to that other line, I think, that runs over to some other things. Smog equipment and EGR maybe. So here's the PCV and the valve, which who knows if this is an original PCV valve. Like I said, I've never changed it. Number one, I didn't even know where it was on the car. That's pretty sad, I know, but didn't even know where it was. While I have this off though, I should replace this, because it would just be unwise, I think, not to replace it while it's off the car. Change this out too. I did go on Amazon and order some different size caps. But anyway, so yeah, I got our gasket on there. Felpro. So yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know if I'm gonna get a phenolic spacer. Again, it comes down to money. I mean, I'm putting all this back on a car with 260,000 miles because I can't afford to, redo the whole car at once. So, well, let's have a look at this PCV valve. Oh yeah, this hose is, yeah, I should probably replace that. I was looking, there's a thing on late model restoration where you can get, I can't remember, I think it's the hose, the PCV valve, the little screen, and the grommet for like 37 bucks, but they were out of stock. And like I said, I ordered the PCV, the grommet, and that little screen on Amazon because it's going to come quicker. And it's supposed to be a Motorcraft PCV valve, a Wix breather screen, and just a cheap Dorman brand, I think, was the grommet for the back of the engine. And it was like $2. So now this is amazing to me. This PCV valve is still loose. I'm in shock, because that's how you normally check a PCV valve, is see if it's loose. Motorcraft, let's look. Motorcraft, this is probably original, good chance of it anyway. But yeah, it's still loose, which I thought that was always the way to tell if it's good or not, but since we got one coming, we'll replace that. And yeah, I need to figure out something here with this, with these lines. But anyway, I want to address as many of these issues as I can while this is off. And that's probably it for today, guys. Thank you. So you guys, for the verse of the day, I was going to look at Hebrews chapter 11. So Hebrews 11 starts, "Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. For by it the men of old gained approval. By faith we understand that the worlds were prepared by the word of God, so that what is seen was not made from what is visible. By faith Abel offered to God a better sacrifice than Cain, through which he obtained the testimony that he was righteous. And on it goes. And this chapter is called the Hall of Faith, and here it focuses on Abraham and about Abraham when God asked, he told Abraham to sacrifice his son Isaac. Now this is a son that he had prayed for and believed God for many years, and so, you know, if you remember in Genesis, God stayed Abraham's hand once he knew Abraham was actually going to do it. He believed God enough to do it, and I can't imagine to be called on to obey God in that way. But it says here that Abraham's faith, he was like, okay, God. He knew that the promise was going to come through Isaac, and so he considered God able to raise people even from the dead. And, you know, he received back his son Isaac as a type, you know, pointing to Christ. So, good stuff, guys. So guys, stay tuned. This is part 1. I think rather than do the whole video and make it super long, I'm just probably going to stop here. And you know, we got the upper intake off the car, and now we're going to be addressing vacuum lines, PCV, and obviously, you know, getting those fuel rails off and changing out the injectors and the pressure regulator. Stay tuned, guys. Don't forget, you can get Amsoil products through my website, number1synthetic.com. There's a link down below in the very first comment. You can get free shipping on orders over $100. Through the end of May 2020, you can actually get free shipping on orders over $50. So check that out at the website. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Thanks, guys.